Hi viewers, welcome to Deep Dive America. Today we're reopening the coldest case in U.S. history. November 22nd, 1963, the day President John F. Kennedy was assassinated in Dallas. Officially, it was a lone gunman. But what if that's the biggest lie ever sold? For 60 years, the truth was buried under redacted files, lost evidence, and over 100 suspicious witness deaths. Now, newly uncovered documents reveal what they never wanted you to see. Like this smoking gun CIA memo, proving critical evidence was deliberately destroyed. Or this ballistic report, showing 3 bullets, but 7 shell casings. And the one man who personally ordered the cover-up within hours of the shooting. This isn't conspiracy theory. This is documented history. And by the end of this video, you'll know exactly who benefited. Stick with me, because what you're about to learn changes everything you thought you knew. The 1960s weren't just turbulent. They were a pressure cooker of power, secrets, and betrayal. At the center stood President John F. Kennedy, a man who'd made enemies of the most dangerous forces in America. The CIA, after he swore to shatter it into 1,000 pieces, following the Bay of Pigs disaster. The mob, enraged by his brother Bobby's war on organized crime. Defense contractors terrified of his plans to end the Vietnam War. And, perhaps most dangerously, his own vice president, Lyndon Johnson, a man with deep ties to the shadows of power. Kennedy didn't just challenge the system, he threatened to expose it. He demanded government transparency. He secretly drafted plans to withdraw from Vietnam. And just days before Dallas, he signed National Security Action Memo 263, the first step to bring our troops home. These weren't just policies, they were direct threats to those who profit from war and secrecy. Then came November 22nd. The first shot struck Kennedy's back. The second, his neck. The final devastating headshot, captured forever in the Zapruder film's gruesome frames. Within hours, Lee Harvey Oswald was branded the lone gunman. Within days, he was dead, silenced by Jack Ruby, a man with mob connections. No trial, no real investigation. Just a rushed conclusion that ignored the glaring holes. How could Oswald, a mediocre marksman, make near-impossible shots with a faulty rifle? Why were autopsy reports altered? Why did over 100 witnesses die suspiciously in the following years? And why did the CIA destroy critical files before Congress could see them? The truth is this: Kennedy's assassination wasn't just a tragedy, it was a meticulously executed coup. The official story isn't just flawed, it's a carefully constructed lie. And 60 years later, the evidence they tried to bury is finally coming to light. For decades, the truth about JFK's assassination was locked away in classified files. But now, thanks to recent declassifications, we're seeing explosive evidence they never wanted you to know. Let's examine the smoking guns, one by one. First, a 1975 CIA memo, buried for 40 years, admits that critical evidence, including President Kennedy's brain, was deliberately destroyed before independent investigators could examine it. This wasn't just evidence tampering, this was a systematic erasure of the forensic record. Second, newly analyzed FBI transcripts from Dallas police radios that day reveal officers reporting a second shooter on the grassy knoll. One officer's panicked transmission states, "We've got a suspect. White male, fleeing toward the railroad tracks." This matches multiple eyewitness accounts of smoke and gunfire from the knoll, evidence the Warren Commission dismissed without investigation. Third, the Parkland Hospital doctors, the very physicians who tried to save JFK's life. Their original handwritten notes and sworn testimony describe a massive exit wound at the back of the president's skull, directly contradicting the Warren report's conclusion that all shots came from behind. Dr. Charles Crenshaw, one of the attending surgeons, later stated, "What we saw was physically impossible if Oswald was the only shooter." Fourth, a memo from J. Edgar Hoover, dated November 23, 1963. just 24 hours after the assassination. In it, the FBI director writes, "The thing I am concerned about is having something issued so we can convince the public that Oswald is the real assassin. Not investigate. Convince." This proves the cover-up began before any real inquiry. Fifth, the Zapruder film, now digitally enhanced with modern technology. The footage irrefutably shows Kennedy's head violently snapping backward from the fatal shot. Physically impossible if the bullet came from the Texas school book depository behind him. This matches the testimony of Secret Service agent Clint Hill, who was on the car when it happened. The impact threw him backward, like a cannonball. And most damning of all, a recovered White House recording of Lyndon B. Johnson on November 23, 1963. In a private call, the new president warns, "There are powerful forces at work here. We need to keep this tight." Who were these powerful forces? Why did LBJ, a man with lifelong ties to defense contractors and intelligence agencies, feel the need to contain the investigation before it even began? These aren't conspiracy theories. These are verified documents, sworn testimonies, and forensic evidence, all buried for decades. The question isn't, was there a cover-up? The question is, who orchestrated it? And why? Because when you line up these facts, the destroyed evidence, the suppressed witnesses, the back-channel memos, a terrifying pattern emerges. This wasn't just an assassination, it was a silent coup. And the proof has been hiding in government vaults for 60 years. Who orchestrated the cover-up? The evidence they never wanted you to hear. The assassination of JFK wasn't just a crime. It was a meticulously staged deception. And the cover-up began within minutes of the shooting. First, the body. In direct violation of Texas law, the Secret Service seized Kennedy's remains and flew them to Washington before an autopsy could be performed by local authorities. Why the rush? Because the military took control of the examination. Not civilian pathologists, not independent experts. The same military-industrial complex Kennedy had threatened to dismantle. Then the Warren Commission, a so-called independent investigation led by Allen Dulles, the very man JFK had fired as CIA director after the Bay of Pigs. Dulles, a master of covert operations, now oversaw the official story. And what did his commission do? It ignored over 52 eyewitnesses who reported gunfire from the grassy knoll. It dismissed doctors who described exit wounds in the front of Kennedy's skull. It buried ballistic evidence showing multiple shooters. But the cover-up didn't stop there. Within a decade, over 100 people connected to the case died under suspicious circumstances. Reporters, police officers, even Oswald's friends and associates. Some were ruled suicides, despite being shot twice in the head. Others died in mysterious accidents. The odds of this happening by chance? Statistically impossible. Then came the evidence tampering. The autopsy photos were altered. The president's brain, the most critical ballistic evidence, disappeared. Bullet fragments vanished from the record. And when skeptics began asking questions, the CIA weaponized the term conspiracy theorist, a label crafted in a 1967 memo to discredit anyone who doubted the official story. This wasn't just a cover-up. It was a psychological operation, a calculated rewrite of history designed to control the national narrative. And it worked, for decades. So who was behind it? The same forces Kennedy had crossed. The CIA, with its dark ops networks. The military-industrial complex hungry for endless war. And the political machine that elevated Lyndon Johnson, a man who, just hours after the assassination, was already pressuring officials to close the case. The proof is there. The documents are declassified. The question now isn't what happened. It's, why do they still want us to look away? Why does JFK's assassination still matter in 2024? The disturbing truth. 60 years later, we're still asking, who killed JFK? But the real question is, why does the truth still terrify them? Because the same institutions that buried the evidence in 1963 are still in power today. The same tactics used to silence witnesses, disappear documents, and manipulate the public, they're still being used. Disinformation, the CIA's 1967 memo that weaponized the term conspiracy theorist, it wasn't just about JFK, it was a playbook, a blueprint for controlling narratives, one we've seen reused in every major event since. Classified documents. Even now, under the Biden administration, newly released JFK files are heavily redacted. Key pages missing. Names of operatives blacked out. Why? What could still be so dangerous after 6 decades? Manufactured narratives. The Warren Commission didn't just get it wrong, it lied. And today, we see the same patterns. Official stories that collapse under scrutiny. Experts dismissed. Dissent mocked. But here's what's different now. We know. We know the FBI withheld evidence. We know the CIA monitored journalists. We know over 100 witnesses died before they could testify. So ask yourself, if they could erase the truth about the murder of a sitting U.S. president, what else have they buried? Vietnam. The Pentagon Papers proved the government lied for years about the war, just like Kennedy feared. November 11th, over 2,000 pages of the official report. Still classified. Epstein. Key surveillance footage. Lost. Witnesses dead. The pattern is undeniable. The system isn't broken. It was designed this way. And the most chilling question isn't about the past. It's about right now. Who's still protecting the lie? Is it the intelligence agencies refusing to release files? The media dismissing questions as conspiracies? Or the politicians who benefit from silence? One thing is clear, the JFK cover-up wasn't an anomaly. It was a warning. A warning about what happens when power goes unchecked. When secrecy replaces transparency, when we stop demanding answers. That's why this still matters. Because the truth isn't just about history, it's about who controls the future. Here's what they never told you. The day before his assassination, John F. Kennedy sat with his closest aides and voiced chilling suspicions. He believed a coup was coming. 24 hours later, he was dead. And within moments, the story was set in stone. Lee Harvey Oswald, a lone gunman, no conspiracy, case closed. But now, 6 decades later, the facade is crumbling. The documents they tried to bury are surfacing. The witnesses they silenced are being heard. And the truth, the real truth, is finally breaking through. But history doesn't rewrite itself. We have to demand the answers. We have to challenge the official story. So I'm asking you, was JFK's assassination just the act of a lone madman? Or something far darker? A meticulously planned coup? The evidence is there. The question is, will we accept it? Comment below, share this video, and most importantly, stay curious, stay skeptical. Keep digging, because the moment we stop questioning is the moment they win. This is Deep Dive America. Thanks for watching.